To get to your targeted audience faster and more efficiently, joint venture is a viable option. With no cash output before the client actually pays you, it can grow your business exponentially. But what are the mistakes to avoid to not get into a joint venture that leads to a fight instead of a win-win collaboration? Let's listen to Attram. Welcome to the Excellent Executive Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Katrina Bruce, and today we have Attram. Mac, welcome.
Hey, thank you, Katrina. Thank you for having me on the show.
So you're the real expert on joint ventures. So for our audience, tell us, what is a joint venture and who are they for, and how do you know if an entrepreneur is ready to have a joint venture?
Great question there. Let's get straight into it then. What a joint venture is, and it's not to be mistaken for other things such as affiliate marketing or referral marketing. Joint ventures, as a marketing tool, you can define it as, or the literal technical definition is, a win-win strategic partnership between two or more people who agree to leverage each other's resources in order to make more money or save money. So with all the work I've done, what I realized is this marketing tool is the fastest, most lucrative, and least competitive form of marketing. So imagine that someone who has your ideal clients already, and you decide to do a joint venture together, and it's all agreed. And if they have your ideal clients and they put you in front of you, your ideal clients in front of their audience, and you give them value one way or another, and they decide to buy from you because they love the information you're giving, they love what it's going to do for them, and they haven't looked at it from that angle, potentially that's a win-win because you are serving your joint venture partner's audience, and that audience is winning. So the key words to remember, one is leverage, and the other one is win-win, which is two words. Win-win. It always has to be a win-win. And when I say earlier on that it's not to be mistaken with referral marketing, whereby someone who's used your services refers you to someone, it's informal, that is fine. And there is a strategy you can build around that, or affiliate marketing, whereby someone decides to promote your products or services and they get paid commissions. That is different. Joint venture marketing, I'll give you an example of what some of our clients have done, because I believe there's quite a few leaders who listen to this, and coaches and solopreneurs. And so give you a couple of examples. One is one of our clients who learned our system, decided to do a joint venture. She's a coach and the other person is a coach as well. But they are looking for someone to speak about specifically about an area that the joint venture partner did not get involved with. So this lady talks about business coaching, and the other person was a life coach. So as a life coach, she's helping people with their life, strategic decisions around their life, family, relationships. But as a business coach, our client was able to work with their client and show them how they can create their own business and how they can grow it and quit their job if they're not happy in that job. Now, remember, this is something that the joint venture partner did not do. So the joint venture partner liked the idea. They decided to go ahead, and our client then sold her services, and then they decided to split the commissions that came to our clients, to the business coach. So that's something that can be agreed up front. Now, how do you know if you're ready for joint venture partnerships? Well, if you can identify other parties who already have your ideal clients, and you have a product or service right now that you can present to them, then you're ready for joint venture partnership. I hope that helps a little bit there, Katrina. I can go on. This is my specialist subject.
No, that's well defined. So thank you. And I think it's important. So what are the mistakes to avoid?
Some of the mistakes to avoid include not getting things outlined at the beginning. So imagine that you've found the ideal joint venture partner and you believe that it'll be a good relationship to get into. One of the big things, and which we advise our clients, is to make sure everything is formalized. In other words, written. Because when the money starts flowing in, some people have short-term memory and they don't remember that what was agreed verbally. But you can always go back to the agreement. So we supply our clients with agreements to say, okay, make sure you do it this way. We provide them various documents. And so that everything is formalized. Without that, you will have non-payments. That's one of the big mistakes people make, non-payments. So in other words, the clients have paid and the joint venture partner has collected the money, but has not sent you your portion. So that's non-payments.
Right.
Sometimes what happens without agreements is the people skip agreements. So if it's not formalized, and again, they've forgotten, they'll say, no, we didn't agree that. And they change the goalpost. So that's another thing. And the other three things that happen is people often later on have different agendas. So they would want to utilize you for that short period. And then at some point realize, actually, I can do this on my own and I don't need you. And so they have different agendas from the beginning. So you've got to pick your joint venture partner very, very carefully. The other thing that can happen is where things can go wrong is if you don't take the time to establish the right joint venture partner, you'll end up in bed with the wrong person. And that's just like any relationship. If you're in a wrong relationship, it can hurt over a period of time. So we show people how to get into the right joint venture relationship, because all we say is make sure it's for the long term. And I've had some of the same joint venture partners for over 12 years now. And in the last 8 years alone, we've generated over 25 million US dollars in joint venture partnerships using the same system I'm talking about. And the fifth thing here, Katrina, is people grow apart. And so if things are not formalized in the right way, written agreements, when people grow apart, now who takes which part of the joint venture partnership? So sometimes a new database list could have been created. Now, how's that apportioned? Does one party take it? Do they split the list in half? Who takes various collateral or marketing collateral that's been set up? So these are 5 of the biggest mistakes: non-payments, skipping agreements, different agendas, the wrong joint venture partner, and also growing apart.
So let's have a specific case study in mind. Like, for example, an executive coach thinks that another executive coach, they could have a joint venture because one, let's say, is in Nevada and the other is in England. But when does a joint venture become sort of fuzzy and competitive? Maybe the client in London all of a sudden prefer the clients in the US for whatever reason, and it's not clear, or there's competition.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's a great point you make there. And Katrina, what I advise our clients is when you go into a joint venture relationship, understand this is collaborative. And I believe we're living in the era of collaboration more and more. And you've got to realize that competition is always going to be there. So the joint venture partnership you get into, so one's in Nevada, one's in England. And if you realize that actually if I'm in England, I'd like to partner with someone in Nevada. Why? I've got to ask myself why. Okay, well, they've got some of my ideal clients, US based. I don't have US clients. I'd like to acquire more US clients. I'd like to work with more US clients. Okay, good. So let me speak to this partner. And in that conversation, I want to establish what's the win-win for them if they were to partner with me. Well, their win may be that they want to start having clients from Europe and they don't have clients in Europe. So we're talking about territory now. And so in that regard, there is no real competition at that point. So you could say, okay, let's run one joint event together or one joint webinar together. And it could be just a one-off, or it could go so well. And what I advise our clients is if it goes so well, do it again. Do it 2 or 3 times a year if need be, because you're both winning. But you've got to have the right mindset that it's got to be collaboration and not competition. Now, if you could have a joint venture partnership with someone in a different territory and you could be selling very similar products and services, I've done that many times. I'll give you an example, one that we did previously where I talk sometimes about sales and sales growth and selling authentically. And I did a joint venture partnership with a business coach in the Philippines, and I am based in the UK, as you know. And so, yes, he could talk about sales as well, but not to the level I could. So he wanted me to teach his audience about sales and sales growth and selling authentically. And so that's what I did. And I still have some of his clients who are working with me. He got a sales commission from the things that they have bought. And together it's a win-win. His clients are happy. And as I said, it's a win-win.
Great. So it's trying it out slowly but surely. It's like a relationship, and see if the trust is there and if everyone's getting what they want from it in a collaborative way. Is that right?
Definitely. Yeah. And also, one of the things I didn't point out very earlier on is this, that when we talk about joint venture partnerships or joint venture marketing, many people think for coaches and consultants and solopreneurs and leaders even, that it's a foreign thing. You know, I'm only a small company. Why would I do that? But the fact is 95% of small businesses do not do joint ventures. And the 5% who use it as a marketing tool actually witness exponential growth. Large organizations are doing this all the time. Let me give you a couple of examples. Whenever Pixar or Disney launch a new animation film, we see in the environment, whether it's on advertising everywhere, we see that companies like McDonald's are cross-promoting. Companies like Pepsi, Coca-Cola are cross-promoting.
Okay, give us an example though. Okay, PepsiCo they're doing a joint venture with who?
With Disney. So Disney launches a new animation film, and you could walk into McDonald's and you would get their Happy Meal, and that animation film, there's toys and merchandise within it. Pepsi, for example, would then maybe have little coupons to go and watch on their labeling, to go and watch the latest animation film by Disney. They are cross-promoting. They're joint venturing so that they both win on the back of this new movie.
Yes, I see what you mean. So
let me give you another example. This one makes more sense. In 2015, around the period of 2014, 2015, Volvo, the European car manufacturer, and another company, Uber at the time was looking at creating driverless cars. They were both looking at creating driverless cars. And they were trying to figure it out. Obviously, Volvo is good at manufacturing. Uber has great logistics in terms of taxi hailing service. When they came together in this joint venture, they created this joint venture to create these driverless cars. That new joint venture was worth over 350 million in less than 2 years.
Wow.
Based on tapping onto each other's great skills and resources. And so what I've learned from joint ventures is that if you can collaborate with someone on a win-win basis, you could then grow exponentially if it's done the right way. And that's what we teach.
So where do business owners go wrong with their marketing and sales? Let's say, okay, so now you've given us examples of where it's really worked. Where can it go wrong?
Absolutely. Where it can go wrong is often what happens with small business owners, they're not clear on who their ideal client is. And what happens is they fall into the trap of believing every single hype that comes up. And I've been an entrepreneur for more than 2 decades now. And I've seen all the fads come and go. Some stick, some don't. And it's not about the platform. It's really about, so for example, some gurus will say, well, what you want to be doing is advertising on Google, or you want to be doing Facebook ads, or you want to be doing Instagram and creating content every day. Now, there's nothing wrong with all of that. As long as you go to the basics of marketing, which says, who are my clients? What are their problems? And where do I find them? How can I get in front of them? And so where some small businesses go wrong is that they don't know what the client's problems are. They're not clear on who their ideal client is, and they don't know which platform to use to attract them on an ongoing basis. And so this is one of the basics where I see them going wrong all the time.
I see. So they're really giving effort, producing content, but it's not touching their ideal market, and they don't address a need that the client might have.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Great. So how do you get started? If you want to do a joint venture, what would you advise our listeners?
A great question. Okay, what I'll do then, let me give you 5 key steps on what your listeners can do if they want to get involved and start doing joint ventures. And this is exactly what I do, and this is what I teach our clients as well. I call this $1 million joint venture process. And the first step, Katrina, is you want to take time to identify your potential joint venture partner. And if you go back to marketing basics, marketing fundamentals, which says, okay, if I'm going to identify the ideal joint venture partner for my company, what I want is for them to have my audience or my ideal target audience, my ideal target clients. And if they do, but they are not in direct competition with me, I can then propose a win-win situation. So number one, know how to identify that joint venture partner. Number two.
Well, just before you go to number two, Mac, give us an example. Okay, so let's say an executive coach wants to work with another executive coach. They both have corporate clients, and how would you know they're not in direct competition?
Yeah, very good. So this is what you've got to, so as two executive coaches, both going after corporate clients, and they don't want to compete. So you might say, in this instance, I'm not looking for an executive coach to be my ideal joint venture partner. But as an executive coach wanting to work with leaders, I've got to ask myself, where are these leaders? So some of our executive coach clients, what they've done is they've decided, okay, who promotes to leaders already? And so they've gone and joint venture partnered with exhibitors, so exhibition companies who run the small business conference, or they run the attorney law conference, where leaders are going to be. So there's going to be various industries that are run by exhibition companies. You could joint venture with them. So they already have a list that maybe twice a year they run these events. But outside of that, what else are they doing or not doing? So if they have your ideal clients, instead of going for the same type of industry, think outside the box and see who else has your ideal clients. I hope that makes sense.
No, I think that's clear. That's very clear.
The second thing is that once you've identified the ideal joint venture partner, and I always say, make a list, make a long list of these people. Number two is now you are going to contact them. You're going to contact them and start having a conversation. So this is easier said than done. Now, if they are in environments where it's easy to contact them, great. Otherwise, see if you can contact them through various means or social media, through LinkedIn, or through any directories where you can get their email address or phone number. And you're going to contact them. And when you contact them, it's on the premise of, I have something to share with you where potentially your company can gain and win. And that's the message you want to come across, that they want to now know how they can win from this. Now, if you don't have a direct in to contact them, then see who do you know that can refer you to that company or that leader or that organization, and start the conversation. That's number two. So ask questions. I'm looking at speaking to ABC company. Who do you know who works there?
Okay, so you contact them, right?
Yeah, contact them. Number three is now you are going to, once you've contacted them, you are going to create. So you've contacted them, you've had a conversation, you've talked about, and we teach this, talk about what you do and why that's important and what type of clients you serve. Ask them questions about who they serve, what they do, about their products. You would have done some research on this already. And then, number 3, you're going to create and present a compelling joint venture proposal. So based on your conversations, you're going to say, I'm going to go away and think about how we can really work together on a win-win basis. Then you're going to create a compelling joint venture proposal. When I say compelling, one that it's going to be hard for them to say no to, because it's not going to cost them anything. And if anything, it's going to be a win-win situation if you present it the right way. So that's number 3. Any questions about that before I go into number 4?
No, I think that's
okay,
very clear.
Very good. So number 3 is a compelling joint venture proposal. Number 4 is, once the proposal's created, meet up with them again, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's live, face-to-face, and present your joint venture proposal. You're going to present, this is how I see us working together. This is how you're going to win. This is how I'm going to win. This is how we're going to gain it together. These are the responsibilities I'm going to take on. This is what I'm expecting you to do, but I'm going to make it all easy for you. I'm going to prepare everything. And this is how it's going to work for us to both win. So present that joint venture proposal, just like you would a sales pitch to a client. But this time you're speaking to a prospective joint venture partner. Number 4, after you've
5. I think the first one was take time to identify, then contact them, then craft a compelling joint venture proposal, then present it to them and explain, and then?
Correct. And then, so once they've understand the proposal, you're going to move to number 5, which I call close the deal. So you're going to close the deal like a sales close. You're going to ask the right questions. For example, do you understand everything I've explained in my presentation? Clearly the answer is going to be yes. If not, then explain furthermore. You're going to ask some trial closes. Is that something you'll be willing to do with me? And so you're going to close it like you would close any other deal. So close it also means you get them to sign the agreement, and then, as per your proposal, then start the project. So that's the 5th step, close the deal.
I see. Okay, very good. Very good. We're coming to the end of our podcast. So how can people get a hold of you? And do you offer any complimentary sessions so that they can brainstorm with you?
Yes, you can. Yeah, definitely. What you can do, the best thing, what I say is go to macattram.com, which is MACATTRAM.com. And there is a free business quiz there. I work with business owners all the time, mostly coaches and solopreneurs, which identifies which part of your business may not be working correctly. And that's one way you can reach out to me. The other thing is you can also email me. You can email me directly, info@macattram.com, and we can arrange a talk, and then I can help you and talk you through how all this can work for your organization or for you if you choose to. So 2 ways, macattram.com, or the other way, info@macattram.com.
Thank you very much, Mac. This is interesting, and you explained it very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Excellent Executive Coaching Podcast. You can subscribe to all future podcasts at excellentexecutivecoaching.com. Join us each Wednesday to learn more about the latest trends in leadership techniques and bring your coaching to the next level. To learn more about Dr. Burris's CEO Mastermind, use the contact form at excellentexecutivecoaching.com.